The Cosby Show broke barriers in the 1980s, introducing us to the iconic Huxtable family, a successful, funny, and relatable African-American household. While the show's reputation has changed, there's no denying its impact. It launched the careers of actors like Lisa Bonet and Malcolm Jamal Warner, and remains a cherished memory for many. Today we remember some of the talented actors who brought the Huxtables to life, but who have sadly passed away. Dubbed Taylor as Slim Claxton, loved by all, this familiar face ruled the Wild West for over 60 years. Dubbed Taylor started out making audiences laugh in vaudeville with his tunes, but it was his xylophone skills that landed him his first movie role as a goofy xylophone player in a wacky family comedy. After that, he saddled up and rode off into countless westerns, starting in 1939. He became a sidekick legend, cracking jokes alongside cowboys throughout the 40s. Basically, if you saw a classic B Western, there was a good chance this guy was there, stealing the show. Taylor died of a heart attack on October 3, 1994, in Los Angeles. He was cremated, and his ashes were scattered near Westlake Village, California. Earl Hyman as Grandpa Huxtable. We all loved him as Grandpa Huxtable on The Cosby Show, but Earl Hyman was much more than just Cliff's dad. This acting legend carved out a remarkable career that stretched far beyond that iconic sitcom. For over 40 years, Earl Hyman wowed audiences on Broadway. His talent was undeniable, even earning him a Tony nomination in 1980. But Earl wasn't just a modern stage star. He brought Shakespeare's characters to life, from Richard II to Julius Caesar, even sharing the stage with Morgan Freeman. The Cosby Show might have introduced him to a wider audience, but Earl Hyman's legacy is built on his dedication to the craft. He was an incredible actor who left audiences in awe for decades. We lost him in 2017, but his performances will continue to entertain for years to come. David Langston Smile as Sam Lucas. Sesame Street fans might remember him best as Mr. Hanford, the friendly store owner who always had a smile and a song. But William J. Smile wasn't new to the show when he took over the shop in 1990. Sesame Street had been dealing with a tough stretch after the death of the original store owner, Mr. Hooper, played by Will Lee. Actor Northern Calloway took over for a while but eventually left the show. That's when Smile stepped in to bring a cheerful presence back to Hooper's store. David Smile lived in Connecticut before moving back to Philadelphia with his wife in 2004. The couple settled in Bala Cynwyd, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia. Smile was dedicated to his community and spent his time as a volunteer performer at regional colleges, schools, and prisons. David Smile passed away from lung cancer at Lankenau Medical Center in Wynwood, Pennsylvania, on March 22, 2016, at the age of 80. Elaine Strich as Mrs. McGee. A bona fide legend of Broadway, Elaine Strich spent over 5 decades on the musical and dramatic stage, though her reputation as a sharp-tongued, unapologetically audacious personality spread far beyond the boards of New York and London. With her whiskey-soaked voice and wry comic timing, Strich established herself as an unconventional leading lady in 1950s Broadway productions Pal Joey and Bus Stop, with her show-stopping performance of the cynical and world-weary number Ladies Who Lunch from the 1970 musical Company, becoming her career-long signature piece. The long-legged dame starred in several British sitcoms during the 1970s, and remained a fixture in the American theater scene during the 1980s and 1990s, touring nationally and making a small dent in the film world with an acclaimed role in Woody Allen's 1987 film September. She was 77 years old when she unveiled the one-woman show Elaine Strich at Liberty, and earned rave reviews for the autobiographical music and monologue production that won a Tony, Emmy, and new fans as it morphed from Broadway to screen to cabaret. Into the new century, Strich was tapped for scene-stealing character roles in film and TV, including an Emmy-winning appearance on 30 Rock and enjoyed her status not only as a revered treasure of Broadway's old guard, but as a salty addition to any stage or screen gathering. Heath, at the age of 89 in July 2014, led to fond remembrances from generations of fans and fellow actors. Ethel Aor as Claire's mother catchy one-liners weren't the only thing Claire Huxtable inherited on The Cosby Show. Ethel Aor, who brought Carrie Hanks to life, was a force to be reckoned with both on screen and on stage. But Ethel Aor wasn't built for sitcoms alone. Her career blossomed on stage in the 1960s, sharing the spotlight with legends like Maya Angelou and James Earl Jones in The Black's a Clown Show. Over 5 decades, Ethel graced the silver screen, too. She starred in critically acclaimed films like Eve's Bayou, and even had a role in the blockbuster The Bodyguard. You might also recognize her from guest spots on shows like Martin, Friends, and 6 Feet Under. Ethel Aor left a lasting impression on audiences. This versatile actress passed away in 2018 at the age of 88. Sullivan Walker as Dr. James Harmon. From doctor to robot advisor, Sullivan Walker did it all. This talented actor left his mark on both television and Broadway. Sullivan Walker was a busy actor throughout his career. He popped up in shows like The Pretender and Law & Order Special Victims Unit, and even had a bit part in the movie Crocodile Dundee. One of his biggest roles outside of The Cosby Show was on a sci-fi show called Earth 2, where he played a robot advisor in most of the episodes. Sadly, Walker died of a heart attack on February 20th, 2012, in his home in Los Angeles, California, 3 months after his 65th birthday. He was survived by his daughter and only child, Keela Walker. He was also a Broadway actor and worked to help Caribbean actors get their foot in the door in Hollywood. Rosco Lee Brown as Dr. Barnabas Foster. With his commanding, mellifluous voice, actor on stage, film, and television, Rosco Lee Brown could easily have made a living as a dignified announcer and narrator. He was a hilarious actor, too. He landed iconic roles on shows like the edgy sitcom Soap and The Cosby Show, where he played the unforgettable Professor Foster. Rosco was also a champion for black actors, taking on groundbreaking roles with the New York Shakespeare Festival way back in the 50s. And get this, he was even a world-class athlete, winning the 800-yard run championship in 1951. Rosco Lee Brown was a true all-star, a talented actor, a funny man, an athlete, and a teacher. Everything he touched, from movies to TV shows, he made better. Sadly, Brown died of stomach cancer at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles in the morning of April 11, 2007, aged 84. Louie NY as Norman Kirby. Louie NY's brand of funny was all about faking it till you make it, especially if it was being a rich snob. This dude wasn't born with a silver spoon, but you'd never guess it from his characters. Louie started out in local plays, then took his act to New York City. He could do it all: sketch comedy, radio shows, even musicals. His big break came on a 50s TV show with Steve Allen. That's where he introduced the world to Gordon Hathaway, a country club braggart with sad eyebrows and a catchphrase that stuck like glue. "Hi ho, Steverino!" Louie never stopped making us laugh. He even popped up on shows like Curb Your Enthusiasm in his 90s. Nye died of lung cancer October 9, 2005, and was cremated. His ashes are interred at Hillside Memorial Park Cemetery in Culver City, California. Jimmy Heath as saxophonist. Jimmy Heath started on alto sax, influenced by the legendary Charlie Parker, nicknamed Bird. He earned the nickname Little Bird himself. In the late 40s, he played with jazz greats and even formed his own band with future stars like John Coltrane. Heath's career wasn't always smooth. Struggles with addiction led to prison time, but even there he composed music. After his release, he bounced back, working with Miles Davis and others. He also became a respected educator. Heath's legacy is as a performer, composer, and teacher. He co-founded the Heath Brothers Band and inspired countless musicians. From early influences to his own achievements, Jimmy Heath's life was a celebration of jazz. Michelle Thomas as Justine Phillips. Michelle Thomas was a rising star whose talent shone brightly on both stage and screen. Born in Boston and raised on the East Coast, she honed her skills at the Montclair School of Arts and the Broadway Dance Center. Michelle's family was steeped in entertainment. Her mother, Finjuar Thomas, was a stage actress and acting coach, while her father, Dennis D.T. Thomas, was a founding member of the iconic funk band Kool and the Gang. Michelle's career blossomed early. She graced the stage in Philadelphia's production of Betsy Brown and landed roles on popular television shows like The Cosby Show, Family Matters, and The Young and the Restless. Tragically, Michelle's life was cut short just as her career was gaining momentum. She received an NAACP Image Award nomination for her role on The Young and the Restless shortly before her passing. William Thomas Jr. as Dabnus Bricky. William Thomas Jr. wasn't afraid to jump between the big and small screens. This Ohio-born actor had a steady career that included both flashy Hollywood roles and memorable spots on our favorite sitcoms. You might remember him as Vanessa Huxtable's fiancé Dabnus on the final season of The Cosby Show. But before that, he was gracing Broadway stages in productions like Godspell and La Cage aux Folles. You could have caught him on shows like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Star Trek, The Next Generation, and even Home Improvement. He kept busy throughout the 2000s, too, with appearances on The Bold and the Beautiful, and movies like Bruce Almighty and Surviving Christmas. He died on November 14, 2020, at age 73, after a series of health issues. Sammy Davis Jr. as Ray Palomino. They don't make entertainers like Sammy Davis Jr. anymore. This guy was a legend, a superstar from the age of 3. He started singing and dancing with his dad, then became a triple threat, singer, dancer, comedian, with the Will Maston Trio. By the 50s, he was a solo act, belting out tunes and cracking jokes. Race prejudice tried to hold him back, but Sammy wouldn't be stopped. He even overcame a serious injury to become a superstar. Sammy was part of Frank Sinatra's cool crew, the Rat Pack. They packed casinos in Vegas and made movies like Ocean's 11. His voice was on the radio all the time, with hits like I've Gotta Be Me and The Candy Man. He even conquered Broadway, and guess what? Even in his 60s, he could still sell out shows with Sinatra and Dean Martin. Sadly, cancer took him too soon, but Sammy Davis Jr. left behind a legacy of joy and inspiration that will never fade. Jon Ritter as Ray Evans. Not all Hollywood sons follow the family tune. Jon Ritter, offspring of a country music legend, strummed a different chord: comedy. He started out with tons of small TV roles, including a stint as a serious reverend on The Waltons. But Jon's true calling was comedy. He landed the role of the goofy Jack Tripper on Three's Company and became a household name. Sure, he had other shows after that, but nothing quite hit the same spot. Then came a surprise. Jon took a dramatic role in his friend Billy Bob Thornton's movie Sling Blade and blew everyone away with his serious acting chops. Jon kept working in both movies and TV, even landing another funny sitcom called 8 Simple Rules. Sadly, Ritter's cause of death was an undetected aortic dissection, when the body's main artery, aka the aorta, tears. However, doctors initially thought the actor was experiencing a heart attack. He died at 10:48 p.m., at the age of 54. Gloria Foster as Dr. Barbara Bracy. While everyone remembers her as the wise and mysterious oracle in The Matrix, Gloria Foster's career was much bigger. She started on the stage in New York, blowing audiences away with her acting chops. In fact, she was so good, Life magazine even gave her a 2-page spread. Her talent landed her roles written specifically for her, and she even won a prestigious Obie Award for playing a whopping 27 characters in one play. She made her mark in movies, too, starting with The Cool World in 1963. On set, she met her future husband, actor-director Clarence Williams III. She kept dazzling audiences on both stage and screen for decades, even returning to the play A Raisin in the Sun later in her career and winning another Obie. Sadly, she passed away in 2001 at the age of 67. Joe Williams, as Al Hanks' actor-musician Joe Williams, made a splash in Hollywood both on and off screen. Williams began his entertainment career with his music featured in films like the Burt Reynolds action flick Sharky's Machine, the fantastical comedy All of Me with Steve Martin, and the action picture City Heat with Clint Eastwood. He even lent his music to Clint Eastwood's action flick, City Heat. He landed acting gigs too, like the dramatic comedy Good Morning Vietnam with Robin Williams. The 80s and 90s kept Joe busy. You might have spotted him on shows like Sesame Street or even the Kennedy Center Honors. He also appeared in movies like Wild at Heart and even scored a credit in the superhero smash hit Iron Man 3 with Robert Downey Jr. Sadly, Williams died on March 29, 1999 in Las Vegas at the age of 80. He had been hospitalized the week before for a respiratory ailment. Carl Balentine as the Great Balentine. Carl Balentine, the lanky guy from McHale's Navy, was a magician who made audiences laugh with his hilarious fumbles. Starting as a regular magician named Meyer Kessler, Carl realized his true talent was comedy. He renamed himself and became the Amazing Balentine, a magician so bad, his act was a guaranteed laugh riot. Imagine a hat spewing feathers instead of a rabbit. That was Balentine's style. Carl never forgot his magic roots. His bumbling magician character popped up on shows throughout his career, proving that sometimes the funniest trick is messing up on purpose. He even did voice acting for cartoons and commercials. A dedicated family man, Carl kept audiences laughing until his passing in 2009. Balentine died on November 3, 2009, at age 92 at his home in Hollywood, California. Betty Carter as Amanda Woods. While Betty Carter's soulful voice graced movies like The Parent Trap and American Beauty, her true passion was jazz. She wasn't belting out show tunes, but scatting and improvising like a vocal acrobat. She even appeared in a PBS special dedicated to the great Kurt Weill. Carter started out with comedic acting in films like The Monte Carlo Story, but it was her music that truly stole the show. She later became a producer, but her legacy lies in the incredible jazz she created. Carter continued to perform, tour, and record, as well as search for new talent until she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the summer of 1998. She died on September 26, 1998, at the age of 69, and was cremated. Arnold Stang as Man in Waiting Room. This wisecracking New Yorker with the thick glasses became a radio legend in the 30s and 40s. His voice was unforgettable. Imagine Jughead from Archie with a Brooklyn accent. He even snuck into soap operas to keep things funny. But the radio wasn't enough. Stang hit the stage and screen, too, cracking jokes with comedy giants like Milton Berle. He even brought cartoons to life, voicing Popeye's pal and the mastermind behind a bumbling cat gang in Top Cat. This commercial king also had a way with words, selling everything from candy to pest control with his own quirky style. Stang kept making us laugh well into his 90s before passing away in 2009. So next time you hear a funny voice, remember the one and only Arnold Stang. Lou Meyers as Mr. Davis. The Cosby Show featured a memorable character named Mr. Davis, played by the legendary entertainer Sammy Davis Jr. More than just a friendly face, Mr. Davis served as a wise and supportive figure for the Huxtable family. His interactions, particularly with Theo Huxtable, showcased his warmth and genuine concern for their well-being. He wasn't simply present. He actively offered advice and support, often through anecdotes and life lessons. This guidance proved especially valuable for the younger characters as they navigated the challenges of adolescence and young adulthood. Mr. Davis's role transcended mere entertainment. He embodied the significance of supportive community members. By offering his wisdom and experience, he demonstrably impacted the lives of those around him. It's important to note that Sammy Davis Jr.'s talents extended far beyond this character. While Mr. Davis left a lasting impression, Davis Jr. was also recognized for his portrayal of the hot-tempered Mr. Vernon on the sitcom A Different World. His artistic repertoire even included accomplished piano playing. Sadly, Meyers passed away at the Charleston Area Medical Center in West Virginia after battling pneumonia for several months. Malcolm Jamal Warner as Theo Huxtable. While his portrayal of Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, 1984-1992, made him a household name, Malcolm Jamal Warner's career has defied the limitations of typecasting. Warner has steadily built a multifaceted artistic identity, flourishing not just as an actor, but also as a director and musician. This is more than just a story of a child star finding his footing. Warner's journey showcases a dedication to artistic exploration. Even during his Cosby Show years, he displayed a directorial eye, taking the helm for episodes of the show itself. This early foray into directing hinted at a creative drive that extended beyond acting. He even ventured into music video direction, demonstrating his diverse artistic talents. Eileen Heckart as Mrs. Hixon. Life wasn't easy for Eileen Heckart. Raised by a struggling single mom and a strict grandma, she found solace in movies. But Eileen wasn't just a dreamer. She hustled her way to Broadway. She earned awards and acclaim, even nabbing a Tony nomination while pregnant. Hollywood came calling, but a movie role slipped through her fingers. She kept on grinding, though, on TV shows and back on stage. Then, in 1972, she hit the jackpot. Her role as a quirky mom in Butterflies Are Free landed her an Oscar. The Oscar wasn't a magic ticket, but Eileen kept working on stage, screen, and even some sitcoms, though she wasn't a big fan. She never quite got that Tony Award, but they finally gave her a special one in 2000 for her amazing performance as an Alzheimer's patient. Sadly, on December 31, 2001, Heckart died of lung cancer at her home in Norwalk, Connecticut, at the age of 82. Robert Culp as Scott Kelly. Forget James Bond, Robert Culp was the secret agent you'd actually want to hang out with. This dude brought humor and chill vibes to classic TV shows like I Spy and The Greatest American Hero. Culp wasn't your average TV star. He wasn't all about showing off muscles or gadgets. He kept it real, making him a fan favorite for years. Even his movies, like the wacky comedy Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice, were fun, but nothing beat his TV magic. He even wrote scripts and directed episodes sometimes, proving he was a total TV badass behind the scenes too. The point is, Robert Culp wasn't afraid to be different. He showed us heroes could be funny, down to earth, and still totally rock. Sadly, on March 24, 2010, Culp died at age 79 after a fall while walking near Runyon Canyon Park in Los Angeles. So that's it, everyone. Gone but not forgotten. These actors left a mark. Share your favorite memories in the comments. See you next time.